Welcome back to the channel, guys. My name is Gene Edwards. You are watching Lubed for March the 5th, 2022, as the Edmonton Oilers continue with this four-game road trip as they take on the Buffalo Sabres tomorrow night at the First Niagara Center in Buffalo. Let's talk a little bit more about Jack Campbell. I know on my post-game episode last night, I really ran him over. He had an awful night, and I really don't think that it's his lack of ability. I think realistically he is dealing with some severe confidence issues, and he needs help with that. He needs that sports psychiatrist to come in and just really calm him down and just get him back to just a good demeanor and a good headspace, because I really think that that's what it is. I don't think he is absolutely that bad of a goaltender. Like, let's be honest. Like, that was not very good. And he's had several performances like that this year. I'm not going to beat it down any longer, but I do believe that Jack Campbell will get better, guys. I know what we saw yesterday was very ugly, but I do believe he will get better. On a bright note, and that's why I did the thumbnail for this particular episode with Kailer Yamamoto on it, he looks like he's gaining a little bit of that mojo back from a couple years ago. Him, Draisaitl, and Nuge seem to be getting that chemistry back, I guess, and that's one good thing. So props to Yamo, because it's been a tough year for him. A very, very tough year with, first of all, the concussion. That sidelined him for, I think it was a month and a half. He comes back for a few weeks. Then he's got a lingering neck issue. And then he just came back and absolutely got smashed by Hall in the Toronto game. But luckily, he was no worse for wear in that. And that's when Ryan Nugent-Hopkins came in there and fed him a few fists and that and stood up for him, which was good for Nuge. But yeah, props to Kailer Yamamoto for really starting to, looks like he's getting his mojo back, which is really a good thing. All right. So here is your current, and this is based off of yesterday. So it's the most current information I can get for you. They're going to probably have a practice tomorrow. And I imagine this won't exactly be the lineups going into Buffalo tomorrow, but this is what I got for you right now. You got Derek Ryan going to be on the line with Connor McDavid and Zach Hyman. You got Ryan Nugent-Hopkins with Leon Draisaitl and Kailer Yamamoto. Like I say, this trio is starting to heat up. Warren Foegele with McLeod and Janmark. Devin Shore with Nick Bukestad, and then obviously the 11-7 format. They're going to have Philip Broberg filling in. Defense pairings do not change, with exception to the very bottom where Desharnais with Brett Kulik. But you got Nurse and CC, Ekholm and Bouchard, and then as aforementioned, Kulik with Desharnais. So, like I say, this is based off of yesterday. There hasn't been an update as of yet. I don't think that it's going to be exactly like that going into tomorrow's game. I do think the second line is pretty much going to be for sure that. I just wonder if Derek Ryan is actually going up on that first line. We will see. We will see. Okay, so this is a new element that I'm going to bring to the channel. This is called a game within a game. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to previously take the previous meeting between the team that they are playing, the opponent that they are playing, and the last time they met. So obviously Buffalo played the Oilers back in October. It was October 18th at the Rogers Place. This was a game the Oilers should have won. This was a game that the Buffalo Sabres literally stole from us in so many ways. We outshot them 2-1. We were better on the face-off dot. The Oilers' number one power play that they've maintained the whole year couldn't get it done on this particular night as they were 0 for 3. It was just one of those nights that just seemed to not be very good. And one of the major reasons is Eric Comrie. That's right. You're wondering who is Eric Comrie? That name sounds familiar. That's correct. He is the half brother of Mike Comrie, who used to be an Edmonton Oiler. Also, Mike Comrie was also the former husband of Hillary Duff. And they are all intertwined in the Comrie family, which is the brick warehouse organization. So yeah, there's a lot of history with the Comries, especially in Edmonton, because the brick was formed in Edmonton. But like I said, this is a game that Edmonton should have had on that day. So if the Oilers can just play similar to that style, you can only get lucky so many times. And like I said, Comrie stole the show that particular night, hands down. But when it comes to the comparison of their current state, they have very, very similar stats in a lot of ways. Goals, Edmonton is first, Buffalo is third. When it comes to power play, Edmonton is first, Buffalo is fourth or tied for fourth. What else? What else is another close one here? When it comes to goals allowed, Edmonton is 21st in the league, Buffalo's 25th in the league. Shots on goal allowed, 20th to 25th. So there's a lot of comparisons of these teams, and I've always looked at Buffalo as almost Edmonton East. They just have that funny feel about them, like they're just that lonely city that's just kind of like no one really thinks about. Everyone thinks about New York, everyone thinks about Los Angeles, Chicago, Washington, and then there's Buffalo, right? Like Buffalo just seems to be that lonely city, just like Edmonton is like there's Toronto, Montreal, Vancouver, all these big ones, and then there's Edmonton, right? So I've always kind of, and it's not to demean Edmonton, but let's just face it, there is some larger cities out there compared to Edmonton and more known on a world stage than Edmonton. So yeah. Going into this game, the Edmonton Oilers record is 34-22-8. Buffalo is 32-25-4. Very good record for Buffalo as well. They're fighting to try to keep into the playoffs as well. As far as the home and away records go, Edmonton has an 18-10-3 record. Meanwhile, Buffalo at home is 13-16-2. Again, a very similar stat. Edmonton's home record isn't that good either. Buffalo's home record isn't that good. The last 10, the Oilers are, excuse me, 4-3-3. The Buffalo Sabres are 6-4-0. Edmonton, of course, on a one-game losing streak. Buffalo on a one-game winning streak. They have Stuart Skinner listed here, and I do assume that Stewie is going to pick up the bulk of the load for the remaining 18 games of this year and probably carry us through the playoffs. So he's going to be one exhausted man when it's all done and said. Back in June when they win the Stanley Cup. I hope, anyway. Okay, his record is 17-13-4 for a 288 goals against average and a 912 save percentage. He is still pursuing his first shutout for the year. They got Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen. Sorry if I'm pronouncing that wrong. You know how I am with pronunciations. They got him listed here with a 15-9-2 record, a 363 goals against average, and an 891 save percentage. No shutouts. But when I was looking at the lines for tomorrow for Buffalo, they have Eric Comrie and Craig Anderson. So I'm kind of confused at who actually will be behind the pipes tomorrow. So I guess it's just a waiting game and wait and see what happens going forward. All right. Now this is the part that gets a little scary for me, as it's starting to get to the point where there's no wiggle room. Okay, because there's a lot of teams now including 2 that are chasing the Oilers that have 4 games in hand. The Colorado Avalanche have 4 more games than the Oilers. The Nashville Predators have 4 more games than the Edmonton Oilers. If both of those teams can make good on those 4 games, the Oilers could be the odd ones out. And they could be right where Nashville is right now, on that other side of that line, not in the playoffs. They don't have much wiggle room at all. At all. Like, it's crunch time. We're going to be, in the next few days here, when we start posting them, you're going to start seeing clinch playoff berth, officially out. We're starting to get close to that. So, yeah, the Oilers don't have much wiggle room. I really, really think that Stuart Skinner is going to be riding out most of the season here. They just can't afford. They can't afford any losses right now. Unnecessary losses. Like, they just can't. It's just that simple. So that takes us into a bit of a wrap up here. If you guys have any questions, comments, or anything that you'd like to bring to the table, or suggestions on some of the statistical information you'd like to see, feel free to leave it in the message box. You can also message me when I do the live post games on or after the game, and I actually try to respond to your guys' questions right there and then. Those of you guys who are new and witnessing this channel for the very first time and like the content that I bring, feel free to hit that like, share, and subscribe button. As for the rest of you guys, I will see you tomorrow night, post-game Buffalo. Remember, it's a 4:15 start or 4:30 start here in BC and a 5:30 start for you folks in Alberta. Other than that, guys, I am out. Stay healthy, stay happy, stay hydrated. We will talk soon. Have a good night.
Don't wanna sleep in, cause I got something to prove. I gotta take what I hate and finally make a move. I think of you and all the shit you don't do. Well, I'ma make hella sure that I don't become you. I have no regrets, yeah,